So, good morning, good day to everyone. Welcome to the Villarigo and online on this event, which is a side event in the margin of the Forum of Mayors and in the middle of the regional forum of the UNECE here in Geneva. This is the second Forum of Mayors, which just ended yesterday with more than 40 mayors participating, most of them in presence, and we have for the first speakers here, Paola, Deda, who I will introduce in a moment, who will give us the overview of this Forum of Mayors. Now, this side event is not entirely or only related to the Forum of Mayors, which just took place at the UNECE. This side event is co-organized with the 5 UN Economic Regional Commissions, whereas the UNECE is based in Geneva and the others are based in the other 4 regions of the United Nations. And even though the UNECE is our closest partner by proximity, the Geneva Cities Hub, who I'm representing, my name is Kamelia, Kemileva, forget to say, is also trying to connect and to become as close as possible partner with the other regional commissions. So this is a public event which is registered and will be published on our Geneva Cities Hub YouTube channel, which will be accessible through our website. And probably if we can put a link to the UNECE website, it will be published. Good afternoon. I haven't discussed this before. So as you have read in the blurb in our website, we place particular attention to working with the 5 UN regional commissions because we are very interested and would like to develop as much as possible the urban work, the work with mayors of these 5 regional commissions, together with our other topics, which are smart cities, which are roundtable with the ITU and others. So we truly hope to see more and more of the UN regional commissions being present in Geneva to showcase their urban work. With no further ado, I will then hand over the floor to Ms. Paola Deda in a moment to walk you through, as promised, this UNECE experience of the second Forum of Mayors, bearing in mind that the first one was at the beginning of the COVID pandemic, in the middle of the COVID pandemic in 2020, and de facto this was the first big presential and successful Forum of Mayors. I will turn then to Ms. Edlam Yemeru, who will also speak for the work of the UNECA, which is the United Nations Economic Commission based in Africa. Also, again, for the urban work of UNECA, as Ms. Yemeru is Chief Urbanization and Development in UNECA. Then we will have a presentation by Ms. Sukaina Nasrawi, who is working from the UNESCAP, the regional commission based in Lebanon, covering the Arab-speaking countries. And Sukaina will be speaking together in tandem with Ms. Yusra Sidani from the Municipality of Lebanon. Hello, thank you, Sukaina and Yusra, for being with us. And then I will finally turn to Ms. Curt, who is physically here. Curt, happy to have you with us. And you will be presenting, obviously, the work of the Regional Commission, UNESCAP, based in Thailand, but also in tandem with the mayor of Dhulikel Municipality in Nepal, Mr. Ashok Byanju, who will be with us. And finally, from UNECA, the regional commission in the Latin American region, Diego Alucie is sending his hi to us due to time difference and workload. He couldn't present the work of UNECA, but please, colleagues from other regional commissions, also feel free to mention him and the work of UNECA, which has the official permission. So The main pitch of the meeting of today is once again regional commissions working with mayors, good practices, current and future perspective. You are given 6-7 minutes, all of you, and then we have communicated some key issues, some key questions. We will take questions from the floor. A nice small debate about how we can enhance the work of the regional commissions on urban issues and mayors. And last but not least, how we can bring more of the other regional commissions here in Geneva through your internal coordination or by all possible manners. So, no further ado, thank you once again to all of you. Turning to Paola Deda, Director, Forest, Land and Housing Division, UNECE, and the absolute champion of chairing very successfully the Forum of Mayors this Monday and Tuesday here in Geneva. Paola, you have the floor.
You know, champions are never alone. And when an athlete wins a race, it's because he has coaches, he has teams preparing them. So, I mean, the champions are sitting here, and it was really a great teamwork. Look, I don't want to dwell too much on the work of the Forum of Mayors. I count on many of you having followed it in presence or online. It's also still available there. Just one quick word on it, and then I would like to discuss more cooperation with regional commissions and how we work on urban matters. To me, the forum was successful. It's very interesting, right? Whenever we have a UN meeting, we always say at the end it was a success. But nobody decides what are the criteria for this success. So it's very easy to say it and then we move on. But for me, the main criteria for success is to see that there's an active participation, but there is ownership of the meeting by the participants. Because we are there to offer a platform, and we have to see that those participating own this platform. And to me, what was very clear in these 2 days, that mayors own the forum. And they were making it very clear that it's our forum, so we do it our way. And the secretary was simply there to guide a bit, doing a bit of background work to make sure that we will keep it within the rules of the UN. And I think we managed to do that. But the most important thing, that mayors really had a voice. They really felt that it's their space. And the messages we're also getting today and last night is that they want to continue because they found it useful. So that is the best reward for all the work of the team. How we're going to shape it in the future is going to be another story, and we have this discussion. So we hope this will be a very good model for other regions. But let me tell you that UNECE this year is also coordinating regional commissions, and our division is coordinating on urban matters. And I'm really, and I, you know, sometimes you say, oh, we work all well together, we cooperate, but it's, you know, it's what we also, it's like the success of the meeting. It's like we have to say it. In this case, it's not true. It's the reality is that we are constantly in touch, that we coordinate, and fortunately enough, we have a year of urban sustainability. So we are able to put together events that go well beyond the forum. We are going to be in ECOSOC on the 21st of April for a high-level meeting on sustainable urbanization organized by ECOSOC and UN Habitat, and also on the 28th on a high-level meeting of the General Assembly with all regional commissions actually present and bringing one of their mayors. I think this is the best cooperation and the best way forward, because we show that the realities are different in our regions, and I think also the forum made it very clear how the realities are different, but the sustainable urbanization is a common challenge. So if we manage to do that and cooperate well amongst ourselves, but as well as UN Habitat. And I think that I thank you and here with Graham, certainly we are able to have this conversation open and see how to be mutually supportive. We have seen what are the challenges. There is no space for competition. We have all our roles. So I know it now sounded like, okay, this is how she should present it, but we are doing it. So it's not only a matter of talking, but it's a matter of achieving also a certain level of visibility, in particular in New York. Being in that high-level meeting is not easy, but I think is there the highest tip of the mountain where our voice will be heard. There are also many initiatives to bring the voice of mayors, to bring the voice of local communities and local authorities at the higher level within the UN. And I think that's the focus of our work, to add a new layer of multilateralism. That is also done with projects at the local level, that is done with normative work that facilitates the work of cities and governments, and also is the link that we are trying to promote between local authorities and national governments, and not necessarily their national government, but between all national governments and all local authorities. So I think this is a bit the work we are doing with regional commissions. I find the exchange with regional commissions very useful. I think we are all learning from each other, and whenever there's a good initiative somewhere, can be also reproduced somewhere else. And I hope that we will continue even next year, where perhaps there is not this urbanization fever, as I call it, but next year. But once we have enhanced the level and the quality of our work, we will manage to keep it. So.
Thank you so much. Just two questions rapidly, then I'll go to the other speakers. So why you are coordinating this year? How coordination goes with regional commissions? I believe it's one regional commission.
No, well, I mean, it's very at the practical level. There are two ways, for instance, how the regional commissions connect. One is really on projects. We have common projects, and that's Gulnara. That is our regional advisor. She is coordinating these meetings, but they precede this year. This coordination and context has been there for a long time, and it's really discussing in a practical way also how to implement joint projects, because when you have a project that covers more regional commissions, you have to talk and implement it. And I think this is an excellent formula, to have a common project to implement in different cities of the region, because that's also where you see the difference, and this is also regional commissions and our friends in UN Habitat. But also for this year, going to New York in 2 events in the same month also implied a lot of coordination. And you're asking what we are doing on sustainable urbanization. We are preparing a paper in addition to the QR. The quadrennial report that has been already submitted. Amy, she is finalizing a paper that I hope will have a long life beyond New York, which really summarizes all the work of regional commissions on sustainable urbanization. We will certainly post it on our website, and we'll be happy to share, because that contains really all our work, and you can see who does what and how, and I think they're brilliant ideas of how different regional commissions address the issue of sustainable urbanization. So it's not only meetings, not only projects, but also this common product that gives light to what we have already achieved individually and collectively.
Thank you. And the second question is the first time you're going to New York, the regional commissions are going to New York for this high-level meeting of the new urban agenda you said. It's the first time that there is a particular panel in this meeting?
As far as I know, in my lifetime, but I don't know before my. I think so. I'm looking at Graham.
It's the first time.
Yes, the first time. So this is.
And why now is this opening according to you on the urban issues done by regional commissions?
I think there is an opening on urban issues in general. I mean, and the pandemic, by the way, helped in that, because as you were saying, right, is the crisis. We had 2 forums, for instance, a time of crisis, and this shows the relevance of cities in time of crisis. There was awareness within the General Assembly. That's why we had a resolution that called for this high-level meeting. On regional commissions, I think because the regional aspect is also being stressed by this new UN setting, right, where the regional level and regional coordinators have a major role. So it's all the levels that come together: the global, the regional, in terms of intergovernmental processes, but also the regional / countries. So punctual specific interventions in countries that we cover with our technical assistance.
Thank you very much, Paola. And if time allows it, we'll come to you with many other questions, not only to you, but to all the colleagues of the regional commissions. So with this, I'm looking at my colleague, Pauline, is working behind the screen faithfully to make this event successful in logistical way. Pauline, do we have Edlam on the
Edlam's here.
Hey, Edlam! I miss
Hello, greetings.
How are you, Edlam? Nice to see you on the big screen, on the small screen.
Very well.
Thank you for being with us on the screen. You've heard what Paola said, so feel free to comment. It's formal in the sense it's registered, but also informal meeting because as you know me from long time, I'm really trying to bring through the Geneva cities help other regional commissions. So please, you have the scenario, you have the questions. You've heard Paola. Go on.
Thank you so much, Kamelia and Paola, all partners here, for bringing us together once again. I think it's great to continue to have these conversations and see how we mobilize our efforts jointly, especially this year, I think, as Paola said, because a lot is happening. The momentum seems to be heightened, and we have some very concrete moments and opportunities where we can really advance what it is that we're trying to do together. So let me just very briefly speak to some of what ECA is doing before I reflect on some of the other questions that have been posed to us. So at ECA, as the Economic Commission for Africa, our work on urbanization has been designed to really correspond to ECA's mandate in the region. And ECA's mandate, as is the same with the other regional commissions, I imagine, is primarily to work on, a range of social and economic policies, largely at the national level, with governments across different sectors and across different departments of government. So at ECA, what we've tried to do is to rationalize how we can add value to the urban agenda by leveraging this mandate of ECA. And so our work has focused primarily on three main areas. The first has been to really look at what is the role of sustainable urbanization as it relates to Africa's priority of structurally transforming its economies. So this is a top agenda on the table in Africa. So we have a pillar of work that looks at what is the role of urbanization, what is the impact of urbanization for this structural economic transformation agenda of the continent. A second area of work for us has been, and perhaps linked to the first, to really examine and support, I would say, our member states, the linkages and the opportunities between the urban sector, urbanization, and other sector policies such as industrial policy, agricultural policy, looking at infrastructure strategies and plans in our countries, and again, making a connection with sustainable urbanization and urban policy. A third area of work for us has been, of course, perhaps a bit of an obvious one, is to work with our member states on data disaggregation. So really strengthening data statistics at the urban level and advocating for better quality data at the urban level. So what we have effectively been doing through our work at ECA is to try to build bridges between urban policy making and other development policies and priorities in the region. I think similarly, our work has helped to build bridges between national and local government actors and their respective processes and priorities and so on and so forth. Through our work, we've seen in many instances stakeholders and departments of government coming together to discuss urbanization and to plan around urbanization for the first time, surprisingly. So we've been building these bridges through our work. For example, if you think about job creation as a top agenda in Africa, I mean, we've been working with member states to promote the idea that Africa's cities are both the location and the enablers for job creation. And often these connections are not made. And so the job creation agenda is a national agenda. It's often driven by some departments or ministries of government that may not necessarily be linked with the urban agenda or local governments. So these are the kind of bridges that we have been trying to build through our work. And we definitely see an observed gap in urban policy design because it's implemented in a silo with quite weak linkages to other sector policies, and in particular, national development planning. And so what happens is that we don't see really a prioritization of this agenda as a necessary ingredient, in fact, to attain all the development planning priorities of a country. So some examples of our work, we've been working with ministries in charge of finance, planning, and economy on urbanization as a priority. We've been promoting multi-sectoral coordination, bringing urban policymakers and actors with a range of other actors to have this dialogue and plan in tandem. And we've also been doing some interesting work at the city level in terms of data and statistics, for example, on city GDP estimation, quite a novel area of work, a new area of work, where we are trying to estimate the economic weight of African cities, which is a key part of the argument, really, in terms of trying to prioritize the urban agenda. If the bulk of your economy is located in cities and urban areas, there is an argument there to increase investment, to prioritize the planning and management of cities, and so on and so forth. So really, I think what I would say in sum is that we've been building bridges, we've been trying to put together the evidence base as to why cities really matter for this region, why cities matter across development policy agendas, and why cities and urban areas should be prioritized in government policy. So in terms of what we're discussing here today, we have been working extremely well with other regional commissions. And Paola and team, other regional commissions on this call, I really want to appreciate what we have been doing together, dating back to Habitat 3, in fact, where we kept a very strong joint engagement with the Habitat 3 global process, and we saw the fruits of that. And we've sustained that since then, including through specific project level collaboration. I think as regional commissions, we've often discussed, and we should reiterate once again, that we are a very important link between the global and the local. And we are able to build bridges, as I said, between the urban agenda and other sector policies and agendas in our respective regions. And so I think this is part of elevating the urban agenda beyond the urban sector. And really, I would say even expanding the buy-in to the sustainable urban agenda, across sectors, across actors, across stakeholders. And so in that respect, we play an extremely important role. And this is part of what we are trying to showcase as we go to New York to the UNGA. And I think this is also appreciated on the part of our member states in the context of the GA meeting and the New Urban Agenda process. The Forum of Mayors is something that we're looking to and looking at very seriously, because as much as we've done a lot of work to promote the local agenda on our side at ECA, we still need to do more to institutionalize this arrangement and really bring them into the intergovernmental processes in a format and manner that is suitable to the region and to our member states. So let me stop there, and maybe I'll just come in on some of the other reflections later on. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Really lovely to be with us. And I didn't mention this at the beginning, but Paola and her great team, by the way, I say Paola all the time, but obviously she's not doing this alone. They managed to bring quite a lot, them on one side, and by coincidence, the Association of Francophone Mayors, so managed to bring quite a number of mayors from the African region to this forum, especially from the other regions, but also many from the African regions. And we felt, really speaking in the corridors, and that's also the beauty of the presence of the people, physical presence here, quite an appetite for them, for these African mayors, because they were asked to showcase, different projects from their city, from their region. There were pictures, there was presentation. Quite actually an appetite to also show this to other pairs from the region. So I don't know. I wish This is really, this is UNECE forum, but going beyond for the next edition, even having more African mayors. I wish in Geneva, because we're in Geneva, we can talk after, but how would you see, for example, this development, like the UNECE Forum of Mayors in this third edition, somehow next year or the year after, and with more African mayors also exchanging among themselves? Probably we can create also space just for them and then space for exchanging with other mayors. How would you, let's say, dream about this, according to you?
No, thank you. It's great to hear that you have a number of representatives from our region. They're present with you. I think that would be a great opportunity for them, not just to share what they're doing, but to take away from this forum how the institutional arrangements for this kind of engagement could look like. Perhaps what could be possible at a future forum, as you said, may be a clear and deliberate focus to promote interregional exchange between, mayors from the ECE region and mayors from the Africa region in a more systematic manner. So that could be one target to look at, the sort of interregional exchange. And yeah, I think on our side, of course, what we would want to do is to see how to promote a similar institutional arrangement of engagement with mayors, and then see how that could connect to your forum of mayors. Because ultimately, if the vision is to have somewhat similar platforms of engagement across different regions, at some point, how do they all connect together, right, at the global level? So we would want to sustain that connection between such regional platforms and forums at a global level as well. So I think it would be really good to have a dedicated interregional exchange component at the next Forum of Mayors in a more structured way.
It's a great idea. Yes, I will really note this as you said it. Thank you so much, Edlam. That's, I think, Paola is.
Well, I'm also thinking that as there is an evaluation, it might be worth for regional commissions also to provide their feedback to the evaluator.
Yes, especially now that we have mayors from other regions. Yes, absolutely. Thank you so much. I like concrete ideas. That's why we are doing this event. With this, turning to Sukaina. Sukaina, I also miss you here. You know, I wrote already WhatsApps and everything telling you how much you should be coming very soon, though, honestly.
Hopefully.
So you've heard already the beginning of this. I will just let you jump in just to remind who you are. I said it at the beginning, but for the sake of those who probably haven't heard, is that you're the social affairs expert in UNESCWA, and UNESCA being the commission dealing with the Arab-speaking countries. We had the mayor of Agadir in the Forum of Mayors, and now with us we have also Yusra. Thank you for bringing Yusra in the middle of the Ramadan. Yeah, the right time now to speak, not too much tired before the evening, so please go ahead.
No problem. You, Sukaina. Still waiting for this.
Yeah.
So to start with, as I previously shared, but maybe some of colleagues and attendees in this side event do not really know, UNESCWA is the Economic and Social Commission for Western Asia. And basically the mandate of UNESCWA covers a multidisciplinary program and brings together different topics, development topics that we focus on. And we've recently underwent a reform where those topics were grouped under different clusters, as we call them, following, of course, what we call an agile development approach. Now, the different clusters are the touch on climate change, natural resource sustainability, gender justice, population and inclusive development, shared economic prosperity, governance issues, 2030 agenda per se, statistics and information society. What really matters to us at this particular side event is cluster 2, because based on this reform, sustainable urban development has been given additional focus at UNESCWA development program. It is now considered as one of the main initiatives under cluster 2, which is gender justice, population and inclusive development. And I'm currently leading all the projects and efforts in that regard. Without further ado, I'll just give you a brief, just a brief snapshot of what we're doing. We basically, through this sustainable urban development portfolio at UNESCWA, we're focusing on different, let's say, subtopics, going from urban data and urban mapping to SDGs localization and local reporting, to the smart sustainable cities and the digital transformation and for the new urban agenda. Of course, also we touched on COVID-19 and city resilience. By touching on these different subtopics, of course, there are other subtopics, but like of less focus from our end. We touch on these from different angles, going from the advocacy and awareness raising to capacity building, to the provision of technical assistance, to the knowledge generation and knowledge product. And we do all of our work under the umbrella of the 2030 agenda, goal 11 per se, and its related targets, and the new urban agenda. Very quickly, we've been exerting lots of efforts to come up with like data visualization and dashboards for the different SDGs, goal 11 included. And if we look at what we have so far, I mean, it's very obvious that in the Arab region, data is very scarce. Now, from the different meetings and from our research, it's a common issue, but it's important to highlight this because without data and without evidences, we're not able basically to make the correct policies and provide the correct recommendations. If we go further into the details, and this is all provided through the UNESCWA SDGs monitor, basically, we lack data at the different SDGs, but also goal 11 is the goal where we most lack the data. So we really need to have joint action in that regard. Of course, there are lots to share, but I'll stop in here when it comes to the urban data and the mapping. On the issue of the SDGs localization and reporting, as other regions who are relatively more advanced than our region in terms of SDGs localization and reporting, we are catching up, and we're currently providing support to cities in the Arab region to come up with the first voluntary local reviews. And of course, this we're starting with Amman in Jordan and with Agadir in Morocco. And of course, we're very happy that the mayor of Agadir was able to join the forum, because I mean, this is one of the main initiatives that is getting the support of the mayor of Agadir. And we're working together with UN Habitat with them on this. And of course, the main target behind this is to further advocate for this local, national, regional connection, as Paola was saying. I mean, we need the local development to inform the national development. This year, with the fever that Paola was talking about, it is gaining attention, and the buy-in is increasing, which is amazing. Throughout the process, we're learning, we're generating data. The methodology we're adopting goes through different phases. We generate like SDGs working paper in tight collaboration with local authorities. Like currently with Amman, with Greater Amman Municipality, we're walking through the process hand in hand with Greater Amman Municipality, developing the papers with them, reviewing with them, highlighting the priorities with them, and so on. So direct collaboration. There are increased also interest in DLRs going from Saudi Arabia to Lebanon, Palestine, Tunisia, and others. On the front of smart and sustainable cities and the use of smart digital solutions, we're basically producing knowledge deliverables that basically aim at advocating for the use of smart and digital solutions for the new urban agenda, or at least for urban resilience, and how we can basically use technologies as means of implementation for the new urban agenda. We're partnering, this is of a regional nature, and I'm just providing this so that I show that we're working at the local level and we're working at the national level, and we're also ensuring a regional scope, because this is our mandate. Another initiative is basically partnering with United Cities, together with different municipalities in Lebanon on the net zero cities. And through this, we are aiming at UNESCWA basically to provide a regional simulation hub for the urban mapping. We're starting it in Lebanon in partnership with different municipalities. Of course, another track is digital transformation for the new urban agenda, where we are working with different cities. Also, we're working with local authorities at the level of capacity development, and we're doing that hand in hand with UN Habitat. I'd say we've built a learning platform, an UNESCWA learning platform, where urban development is a main component, and this is very new, by the way. It was recently launched in the Arab Forum for Sustainable Development, in which we have the illustrated agenda, the illustrated handbook on the new urban agenda, and the course on the crash course on the new urban agenda there for learners to take and to enroll in, etc. And of course, we're holding different workshops hand in hand with local authorities in different cities in the Arab region. I don't want to take much time more than this, but I'll touch also on the issue of COVID-19 and the resilience. Of course, this is a joint project, and this is from our end. It's a project basically to applaud, because it is one of the, from our perspective, it's a common project across the different regional commissions with UN Habitat and UNCDF, and the collaboration there was really, really very tight. The tight follow-up and collaboration made us learn from each other, and I completely agree with Paola that this is, and Edlam, this is something that we recommend from our side, a common project, common development projects related to urbanization. The project basically came up with a global compendium of practices, with a tool that we've implemented with cities that touches on different components of urban economic resilience. We've helped the city in coming up with performance diagnosis reports leading to recovery plans. I'm not going to talk much about it because we have Ms. Yusra Sidani with us, and Ms. Yusra was basically leading from the side of Beirut, where we were implementing this project. If you allow me, Kamelia, I'll give her the floor for a minute or two so that she talks about this collaboration, and then we'll continue.
I allow you everything, as you know.
Oh, thank you, Kamelia. That's very sweet. Okay, then Yusra, the floor is yours, please.
And thank you, Yusra, for being with us.
Thank you for giving me this opportunity, and thanks for all UN regional commissions for all their help that they are extending. Lebanon is facing always has several issues since decades, and with the COVID, it has been worse and worse. We found out that we need better systems, better tools across the city, and we need a strengthened, empowered, and sustainable finance city. With this, with the help of Sukaina, it's UNESCWA. It is not UNESCWA, it's Sukaina, mainly UNESCWA and Sukaina are both.
I was thinking about, because Sukaina is everywhere, so.
No, she was the leader. With the help of UNESCWA. With the help of UNESCWA, UNCDF, UN Habitat, and the Municipality of Beirut, we have done a project of building urban economic resilience after COVID-19. And this was very important. It has tackled, we have got the technical expertise of these commissions, and we have collected the data, we have validated, we have set a recovery plan, and after so many meetings and groupings, and we have set the project tackled the five main pillars: the local business environment, the local labor market, the local financial system, the resilience of economic governance, which was the weakest, and the resilience of basic service infrastructure and connectivity. And I want to stress on the importance of this project. As our former speaker said, we have to build bridges between all parties, and we believe that we have to build the bridges between the local government and the citizens. And with the help of UNESCWA, we put bridge this gap very efficiently. Also, we have set certain plans or actions, recommendations at the city level. These are immediate, medium, and long-term interventions. So this is very vital and important for our city, and because our city is very important in Lebanon, so it will be very important to Lebanon as a whole. There has also been many initiatives for COVID with the UN Habitat. We have got a mobile clinic with the help of UN Habitat from the Mayor's Migration Council for PCRs and COVID vaccines, and it is now just on the streets administering vaccines to the community. And we have also an example which is I'm very proud of. With the help of UN Habitat, formed a social municipalities social cell for collecting data and for Beirut social and protective study in order to help the vulnerable areas. Thank you. Your efforts are appreciated beyond measure.
Thank you very much, Yusra. I was listening to you and we'll have a follow-up question, but just having UN Habitat in the room, I wanted to ask Graham, did you pay this person to mention UN Habitat all the time? Because really,
it's a long-term mutual relationship.
I didn't know.
Graham will be given the floor to defend himself why you have mentioned so many times that UN Habitat is absolutely indispensable. Exactly, it's the official format of
Esteban Leon, who is leading this work with Urban Resilience Lab.
Absolutely, and I warned actually UN Habitat colleagues that they might be given the floor, to defend themselves. So,
Kamelia, if you allow me.
Absolutely, just to Yusra, because I was not sure that you're aware of this. But just not, to you before returning to you, Sukaina and Yusra, I see these relations, you know, with local governments, etc. Do you communicate or do you work or Yusra with other regional commissions? Probably the most immediate will be the UNECA in your case.
Yes, we work a lot with UNDP, with UNHCR, with the with many, but for me, because I'm the focal point from the municipality, and my work is mainly with the UNESCWA and the UN Habitat, and we have also now the 3RF, which is a project, a very big project for the reform of Lebanon, also with the help of UNESCWA and UN Habitat. So all UN commissions are really helping a lot.
Yes, thank you for this, and also to say that again, Sukaina, getting back to you, but also to other colleagues, as we are discussing now from a moment this coordination about regional commissions.
Yes.
It will be ideal if at the end of this meeting we come up with 2 or 3 or 1 or 2 concrete actions of how we can continue. In my head, but I'm external to all of you, I'm turning around expanded forum of mayors, exchanges of mayors, urban issues, but I'm in your hand, and please think about that by the end of this meeting. You don't leave the room before we have get to some 2 or 3 concrete ideas as Edlam, thank you.
Yes, I will add also UNICEF.
UNICEF, okay.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. Sukaina, please go ahead, finish your presentation.
Yes, thank you, Kamelia. And if you allow me, I'll answer your question that you addressed to Graham, if he paid her or not. It's actually, I actually asked her basically to mention other UN entities if they're working with them, because with the intention to show that, I mean, when we join forces, we basically make a better impact. And this is what we've been doing with UN Habitat, and we've been doing also with the different regional commissions, and we hope that local authorities in our region would also be able to reach out to other regional commissions, not only agencies and UN programs. So, I mean, I'm not going to take more time, but just to reflect on this issue of replicating the Forum of Mayors in our regions or not. I mean, I would honestly second Edlam in her proposal of strengthening the inter-regional aspect in that forum, given its success. And especially knowing that we've been helping ECE in basically granting representation from the Arab region, be it from Morocco or from Jordan in that big event. So basically, if we join forces, additional forces in such events, I think we will all gain. From UNESCWA's side, I mean, as I started saying, it's still, let's say, a young portfolio. However, we've been trying basically to instill it in a different intergovernmental processes. Like in 2021, we basically reported on sustainable urban development in the committee, in the intergovernmental meeting for the Committee on Social Development. We've also reported on sustainable urban development and the tools we've been producing, etc., in the Committee on Women, believe it or not. And the intention was that gender issues are core when it comes to sustainable urban development, and also when we talk about social development, etc. So we are instilling the issue of sustainable urban development in different intergovernmental processes that we have. This year, unlike other, since it was a bit different, because in the Arab Forum for Sustainable Development also, we really had a good exposure for the issues of sustainable urban development, going from the knowledge fair and the different capacity building knowledge products that we've produced and having them in there displayed, to a round table specifically focused on sub-national reporting and local reporting, and bringing in also local authorities. We had local authorities at the Arab Forum, and this happens for the very first time since the inception of the forum. In addition, like to other side events on urbanization and climate change, etc. But I wanted basically to note the subnational reporting and bringing in local authorities to the Arab Forum for Sustainable Development, because if it indicates something, it indicates the buy-in for the issue and basically the start of, this wheel rolling. That local authorities are very important and they play a great role in our region, and that local should inform the national, leading to the regional and the global. I'll stop in here and ready to take any question at a later stage. Over to you, Kamelia.
Thank you very much, Sukaina, and I think that's a very important element, that they are local to national authorities. This is something which we're also very much aiming to do and try to increase in the future Forum of Mayors and meetings. Thank you so much. We'll come back to you. And now turning to Curt, who arrived 3 days ago, not anymore jet lagged, I hope. No, so he's in absolutely full shape and form with us. Thank you for travel for so long, but it's the second invitation, so very happy to have you here. So Curt, as I said at the beginning, he's Chief of Sustainable Urban Development Section for the Environment and Development Division at UNESCAP. Long title, a lot of responsibilities. And he brought with him virtually the mayor of this Dhulikel municipality in Nepal.
Who maybe has not joined.
Who joined or not, but you know also the whole story. So, Curt, you have the floor with already what has been said. You can almost try to give ideas and summarize complete ideas.
Sure, thank you. And I have a presentation I'll work from at this. But first, thanks to Geneva City Zone for the invitation, and let me also echo the thoughts and comments of my counterparts on the collaboration among the regional commissions. And before I get to my presentation, you asked earlier, why is there a panel at the high-level meeting in New York? And I think it's because there was a single-minded determination from Paola that we were going to be represented at that meeting. At
This
the regional
Paola.
commission, this-
Yeah, it's an elegant way to say to translate stubbornness.
that she would not take no for an answer. The regional commission's work needs to be reflected because it's important to the New Urban Agenda and to the work of member states. So let me start with my presentation, and I'll focus on a couple of activities that we've implemented recently, and then come back to the questions. So if we go to the next slide. Just to give you an idea of how we structure our work, it's very similar to what Paola had indicated earlier. But we have a series of regional dialogues that include an Asia-Pacific Urban Forum that we do every 4 years. The last one was held in Penang in 2019. We had about 5,000 people. We also have the regional forums on sustainable development. We have a number of expert group meetings on various topics. And we also brought together partners in the region 1 year after the adoption of the New Urban Agenda to identify what the region needed to do. And then just last October, again, bringing together the Regional Partners Forum to see what was the progress against the New Urban Agenda. From that dialogue series, and there's probably room maybe for another dialogue platform in the upper left corner that could engage with mayors. We developed normative guidance. So we developed the Future of Asia-Pacific Cities report. We identified 4 thematic pillars, 15 policy pathways, and launched that at the Asia-Pacific Urban Forum. We also developed with partners the voluntary local review guidelines and a number of other documents, including documenting the progress against the New Urban Agenda in an outcome document from last fall. We all then built partnership and capacity building platforms. We launched one at Ashok called the Penang Platform for Sustainable Urbanization. We created an Asia-Pacific Mayors Academy, which I'll talk about a little bit more, and then communities of practice on various issues. And then we have what I would describe as proof of concept projects, taking the normative guidance and the partnerships and delivering that in projects and activities on the ground. And a lot of those come back into the regional dialogues as lessons learned. So this is the way that we structure our work. All of it is done with partners, whether it be cities, national governments, development partners, UN Habitat, other UN agencies, regional commissions, etc. Next slide. So building on UNESCAP's work, on the formal work that we do on the follow-up and review process in the 2030 agenda and the voluntary national reviews, we thought a logical next step to make those DNRs much more robust and enrich them was to focus on voluntary local reviews. And it was also in response to what we heard from partners at the Asia-Pacific Urban Forum, that they needed specific regional guidance on voluntary local reviews, that it wasn't necessarily helpful for them to hear of examples from other regions that didn't have the same context. New York is not the same as what happens in Asia. Finland is not the same as what happens in Asia. So we developed the first regional guidelines, and then we migrated that to an online platform that is self-paced, a learning platform that also is available to all who want to learn about the DLR guidelines. Next slide. And a key element of this is the integration between local reviews and national reviews. So building information gaps, and this goes to the discussion about data. There's a lot of data that gets lost between the national and the local levels, but there is certainly opportunities for enhancing vertical cooperation, for coordination, broadening stakeholder engagement, and strengthening the whole integration process. Next slide. Since we launched the guidelines in October 2020, we've had 3 completed: Surabaya, Subanjaya in Malaysia, and Dhulikel in Nepal, which was launched actually yesterday morning, and the mayor has been very supportive, and I thought was supposed to be here today, but maybe he had some technical difficulties, and we have some others that are currently in progress. So we've gone from kind of a demand of 2 in the first year to probably 7 to 9 in this year, and we already have kind of a long list of other cities that are interested in developing BRIs. Next slide. Second platform I wanted to highlight is the Asia Pacific Mayors Academy. We felt that there was a specific need to target newly elected mayors who come into office and are immediately faced with the global development agendas and how to localize SDGs without really a sufficient base of knowledge. So we put together this and launched it at the Asia Pacific Urban Forum. We're now in our third class of mayors, and we have an open call each year for mayors to apply. And we can go on to the next slide. But we use the Future of Asian Pacific Cities report, that normative guidance that we developed, as essentially the curriculum for the mayors, so that they understand essentially the policy pathways, the main pillars that are provided through this guidance. And the guidance, as you see in the document there, was put together, co-produced with partners, including UN Habitat, UNDP, Rockefeller Foundation, the EU, and the Asian Development Bank. And we focus on urban territorial planning, on urban resilience, on smart and inclusive cities, and on urban finance. Next slide. We expect each of the mayors to bring with them a challenge or an initiative. And they work collaboratively and provide peer review of each other's initiatives. And you see in the upper right the first set of initiatives that came out of that first class. The first class was actually one that we had 3 components. They were all face-to-face, and it was a very effective program. And they really created a network among those mayors, and they truly bonded. In the subsequent classes, it's been virtual and online, and it simply has not had the same feeling. Another challenge, in the first class, we had 50-50 gender parity. Subsequently, we have struggled to get women mayors from the region. It's an institutional problem, and it's one that I think we all need to work on.
But there are no women mayors, or no women mayors enough are applying to.
Well, the criteria is that there are very few in the overall pool, and then our criteria is that there's supposed to be newly elected mayors. So we all need to work to increase the number of mayors who are elected to the region. It makes a huge difference, not only in the work of the cities, but in the dynamic of bringing mayors together. Next slide. These are some of the challenges and the initiatives that were brought through the last class of the Academy. And so, again, I want to just briefly describe how the Academy works. Each of the mayors identifies a challenge that they would like to bring and develop and elaborate through the Academy, with expert guidance and feedback from the partners in the Academy, which include UN Habitat, UCLG ASPAC, the Association of Pacific Rim Universities to connect them with academia, and IGES. And so each of their challenges benefit from the feedback, not only of the peer mayors and the network that is created, but experts. And as they identify initiatives, we bring in outside experts as well to inform their initiatives, so that when they come out of the Academy, in the first year of their term, they have a very concrete initiative that they can take forward. We ask them to look at data, and that's what you see as the evidence. What are the plans and policies that they could develop? Issues of resilience, of governance, of finance, and what is the technical support to build their capacity is all part of their initiative. And then we ask them to identify a clear implementation plan for the first year, so that this is not just something that they participate in and go away and do nothing, but that they have a clear outcome. And I think that may be my last. So that's the presentation. Coming back to a couple of the questions. We target our hour specifically with these newly elected mayors. I think obviously the forum has demonstrated that there's a lot of value in bringing mayors together. We've seen that in the ASEAN Mayors Forum that UCLG convenes in our region. We've seen it really just in a small group of mayors in the Asia Pacific Mayors Academy. And I think we certainly have interest in bringing forward a concept similar to the Forum of Mayors. We would have to obviously go through the intergovernmental process, member state consultations on how that could be part of the forum process. But certainly there is value and benefit and clearly for our region as well. That's out there, and that's
Thank you so much. The right moment, Edlam, I might have already some 2 or 3 concrete ideas basically going on the chat on the WhatsApp. Just open the floor for burning and concrete, not only burning, but questions, concrete questions around, yes, also how we can continue. I think there are like sort of 2 big areas. One is VLRs, where you are doing a great work in UNESCAP, and other regions are also doing lots of VLRs. So how these VLRs are brought to the larger public, other local and regional governments, also national governments, how they are presented, how these VLRs trigger for dialogue. One thing which especially you, Curt, raised. The other thing is around this idea of exporting the Forum of Mayors in other regions. Geneva Cities Club, I don't know if we have enough large shoulders to support Forum of Mayors in other regions. Doing the Geneva Forum of Mayors larger with concrete, what can I say, inter-regional element or more structured element for also other regions. So these are the 2 concrete ideas: presentation and showcasing inter-regionally between mayors, and presentation and showcasing from mayors to the national government. So if I can say horizontally and vertically interaction in the future. Antu?
Thank you so much.
And move here because exactly, or speak loudly or shout.
I'll try to speak loud. Thank you so much to all presenters for your really fascinating presentation. It's really helpful to hear about all your work on urban issues. And I had 2 questions, I think. Curt, just one concrete questions about the Mayors Academy, which sounds honestly fantastic. To what extent do you also work with elected mayors who are there in their seats for quite a long time, who can peer with the newly elected mayors? So I guess it's not always easy, you know, because newly elected mayors want to put their own, you know, I guess their own, you know, like personality into the job. But that could be interesting. And the second question, I think, is to all regional economic commissions. To what extent you also work not only among yourselves and with UN Habitat, but also with other UN agencies, be it on the ground or in HQ, where the engagement of states is really significant. And I'm thinking about UN agencies themselves, but also the board of those agencies. They all now work on urban issues. We've been doing a mapping at the Geneva Cities Hub on, you know, the urban work by each agency here, Geneva based. And they all work. So to what extent can you, you know, like find out concrete projects on which to collaborate with them? Thank you.
Thank you. You want to reply me? Yeah.
Can I ask a question on the city
Yes,
academy?
go.
Please, how long it is and how many people you can take at the time. It's great. It's fantastic, and I think it's a formula that you can export to UN, but also outside, even the academia could do some. I was wondering, like, for how long you keep the mayors with you to understand what is the type of engagement they have to have.
Right, in the first class, which was face-to-face, we brought them together at 3 different points. First was at the Asia Pacific Urban Forum, and we introduced 2 or 3 different modules there, because we had a captive audience at that event. Then we brought them to Bangkok for an intensive 3 days, and we brought lots of different agencies, and they were in the room providing the curriculum, delivering the curriculum, and they were working. We gave them essentially scenarios, and we focused really on what are the executive decisions that mayors make. We didn't want to get into all the technical issues about urban air pollution and how you do transport systems at that level of detail. We focused on what are the executive decisions that mayors need to make to promote sustainability within their communities. And then the third part of that first year was bringing them to the World Urban Forum, where they participated in sessions, sharing their experiences and their initiatives. The two virtual sessions, we scheduled every 2 weeks, virtual curriculum of about 3 hours, recognizing that that's probably about what we could do. And we spread that over a 6-month period. And it's, again, not having that face-to-face, you lose a little bit of that kind of peer bonding and peer experience. Going back to the question on the academy itself, could you repeat specifically what you?
I was just wondering to what extent you also involve mayors who are already in place, not only newly elected mayors, but hearing them basically.
So in the first class, we recognized that it would be useful to the class to have an experienced mayor as part of the class. So we had one mayor, Mayor Byanju, who had been in office for probably 8 or 9 years. And he provided, obviously, that mentoring experience. We also brought in mayors from other cities as presenters as part of essentially an expanded faculty. But part of the idea of the academy is that over the course of 2, 3, 4 classes, you create a network and that they actually come back as faculty members as well. So we brought into the second class mayors from the first to share their experience and how they've taken forward their initiatives. Most of those were kind of delayed because of COVID. But that's the idea, which is that over the course of 5 years, we get together a network of 60 mayors or so to really promote these issues. Hopefully, they'll be successful in their terms and some will get reelected. But we do both. We bring in some mayors to provide a more experienced perspective, and we promote the mayors who come through the academy as faculty. How we work with other agencies. We work obviously quite well with UNECA on lots of initiatives, but we work with UNEP, the Environment Program on our urban air pollution work. We work with UNDP, and we're about to do a training with UNDP on the voluntary local review guidelines, because they're working more with cities as well. In our urban air pollution work, we work with UNECA, we work with UNICEF, we work with a number of UN agencies. So I think we've established a pretty good relationship. Some of it is a bit sector-specific or project-specific. But we've also brought those agencies into the academy as well as expert faculty members.
Thank you so much, Curt, and you will speak at least another one time before we finish on this DLRs and VNRs, because again, emphasizing this, and also I want to come back to the speakers for closing remarks. The story about the Forum of Mayors is that we created a showcasing moment where mayors came with pictures and they said, about projects in their regions. But at the same time, some of these mayors have presented DLRs, which are published, and apologize to speak like this, but on an obscure website somewhere on the UN. At least if you don't know it as a career diplomat, some of us, I've never heard about this, to be honest. So now I knew it, I Googled it, I found it. So how this can be matched with more showcasing, so the mayors who have produced DLRs, how this can be introduced, popularized in a more sustainable manner, because for the time being, as far as I understand, they are hoping that some of the VLRs will be, so to say, taken up by the VNRs, but if they are not, they are not. So what is happening? Can we combine somehow, work with mayors by more popularity of these VLRs, also to be brought to the larger public, to the other local and regional governments, also to national governments? Can we have a formula within the forum of mayors or a forum of mayors around this? We'll be giving you the floor in a moment. I want to turn also to Edlam and Sukaina and Yusra, basically for commenting what we have heard and concrete ideas. So I don't know, Sukaina, if you want to hit the floor once again, please go ahead.
Yes, surely, Kamelia, and of course, I mean, of course, giving exposure to those reports is very important, and having them in one central database, let's say, or central portal, is very important because it sheds light on on all the efforts that those local authorities have been doing. I mean, the very first thing that comes to my mind is the national reports that are being conducted at the national level by cities in terms of the implementation of the new urban agenda. And there is a platform where they upload them, and we can have access to all those reports. So probably it would be a good idea to have like a kind of a comparable platform for those VLRs, not a different one, but I would vote for having like one platform that has these different reports. They're voluntary. I mean, we can think of the platform like the one used for the VNRs, the voluntary national reviews, that is linked to the high-level political forum where countries go and submit their reports and discuss them, etc. We can think of something that is that high level, because if we're calling for local to inform the national and we're providing voluntary national reports or voluntary national reviews that much of an importance, then, and since we are, as Paola was saying, going to New York to shed light on the importance of this issue, then why not opt for having a global platform like the VNRs for the VLRs and shed light on those efforts. Now, if you allow me also, like in the case of Amman currently, they will be at the HLPF, they will be presenting this year their second VNR. And UNESCWA, together with all UN entities, they're providing support to them to come up with a VNR. But also the promise is that they will be presenting their first VLR also at the HLPF. So, it goes without saying that we need to have access to both reports in the same place from the same platform.
Thank you, Sukaina.
Yeah, over to you.
Yes, Yusra, please go ahead. And I was actually told that you were not correctly introduced, so rather later than never, could you please introduce yourself for the sake of the meeting?
Yes.
You already told, but please go ahead.
I'm Yusra Sidani, a member of Beirut Municipality, and I'm representing Mr. Jamal Aitani, the mayor. We have been working a lot with many organizations, but from my brief introduction today, I can think of what we say as I'm a financial auditor. We need a one-stop shop for the mayors, if we can say it like this, in which everybody will put all their we will know about each city, we will put all pictures, we will put all projects, and we will map the SDGs with all the projects. So we can have the projects mapped together directly, in which we know that they have been reported at the city level, and reported at the national level, and at the international level, like your organizations or your hub. So and we can benefit from the expertise of all of us, especially, if I may state, about the finances, the adopting of the new international reporting standards, about certain things, because these are all new to all cities.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
Getting there. So UN Habitat now will comment on all this and tell us how to do a one-stop shop and global presentation platform.
Yeah, thank you very much, Kamelia. So Michael Solis from UN Habitat. And I would just like to bring in the urban platform that exists. So it's a portal to report progress on the new urban agenda. It's a platform facilitated by UN Habitat, but it's a platform where we all rely on you and national governments and stakeholders to provide input to. So it's a global platform where, on the one hand, national governments are submitting their national implementation reports on the new urban agenda. At the same time, we have stakeholder reports uploaded. The regional commission report will be online soon. We have different reports to demonstrate how progress on the new urban agenda was made. So there's also a link to the VLRs, and just to give this idea here that we can also explore the option of making VLRs available on that platform. So yeah, urban agenda, maybe I can put the link also in the chat later. Thanks.
Thank you for this information. Edlam, turning to you now for sort of the concluding remarks and probably what shaped in your minds as concrete ideas, how we continue. And I agree with you. Now we have not any more excuse. I mean, thanks, hopefully COVID is behind us, or the main kick of the COVID is behind us. So let's make 2022 more productive in getting to the concrete ideas and cooperations. Edlam, you have the floor.
Thank you so much. I'm a bit challenged to put on my camera right now. If you don't mind, I'll speak while it's off. I hope you can hear me. So I really want to support you, Kamelia, in what you said about what would be the one or two concrete actions or initiatives that we jointly as regional commissioners together with you and UN Habitat could target in 2022. Because this is the second discussion that we're having. I do think that an obvious one is 2022 offers these events and moments. We are already planning for how we work together around the UNGA, but there's also the World Urban Forum, and then there is the Urban October in October as well. So I think consistently we could join hands at these events. That's already underway. For me, I think, because we had this discussion when we were in Geneva last time, Kamelia, Geneva Cities Hub is well placed to promote dialogue, to bring together different actors and stakeholders to have conversations really. And so I think that is a space where we can collaborate with you to promote some kind of dialogue series or dialogues or a dialogue, I don't know what, but with mayors and local governments. And I think maybe we can have a more interesting format where it's more provocative, or we bring together mayors with actors that they don't normally engage with. Maybe the interregional component can come into that. Perhaps it can take place in Geneva. Perhaps you could come to each of the regions. I'm not sure what the format would look like, but I think you have quite an opportunity and a value to add in terms of that dialogue component in a way that's different, because there are mayors dialogues and events already. But what could we do that is quite different in that respect? For me, could be one thing we look at. On VLRs, we just came out of a session convened by ECE, where all the regions were discussing VLRs. And what is very clear and apparent is that there is a huge amount of work going on already on VLRs in each region, as well as at the global level. So I think when it comes to VLRs, one has to really critically look at, is there a gap that this group here could fill or could complement? Because already, even in terms of VLRs, I'm aware that UN Habitat has a dedicated VLR page, webpage platform where they are putting together all the VLRs. There's the Urban Agenda platform, as Micah mentioned. So what is it that this group, coming to it from a regional commission's perspective, could add? You know, what is it that could be of value, I don't have an answer, but certainly that is something to look at. I also do think, Kamelia, that you are well placed, being in Geneva, the hub of all the humanitarian actors, actions, and institutions, and all the other major UN meetings, is how to continue to bring local actors and mayors into those conversations. You did already bring us together in that format previously, and I think you could again build that bridge with all the action that's happening in Geneva and mayors and local governments across the world. But definitely, I think after this meeting, let's look at one or two concrete things that we can do with you jointly, Kamelia. So those would be my reflections. Thank you.
Thank you, Edlam. No pressure, huh? So, absolutely no pressure. So thank you so much, and I always love to speak with you because it is concrete, and yeah, we will be thinking very, very hardly about this, and you'll hear from us very soon.
Kamelia, I'm sorry. There was one point I forgot, which was on the support that the one point that you mentioned about external or exporting the forum of mayors. Yes. I think it can take different formats in different regions, and UNESCAP has its own format, perhaps through the ASEAN, but it would be about supporting the background preliminary conceptualization and design of these institutional arrangements rather than supporting the entire forum itself. Because you were saying how you may not have the shoulders to support that, but it would be more about the setting up of it and the design of it, and kind of walking with us in that process as regional commissions. Over. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Edlam. I'm watching intensively Paola about what you just said, so she will have the floor to conclude this. But yes, something like this definitely to create a pattern of how this can work. Also outside this region, we are getting there. Thank you very much for the inspirational remarks. Now, Curt, turning back to you with all the comments and these VLRs, I was saying that they're not visible enough, and your body language was like, you are wrong.
No, so. No, you're right.
It's on record, it's online, so
please.
Sometimes I prefer to be the avatar on a screen. And
okay, I will just.
I'm not used to being in person anymore. So. I think you're right that they aren't visible enough, and I think that's one of the opportunities is that we need to make not just the VLR reports, but the value of the VLR is much more visible, because the report is essentially the product, but the process that the communities take, and then how they go forward with that is, I think, as important, if not more important. As it relates to a couple of the VLRs that we've done, I think there are some logistic issues and then some coordination issues that need to take place within countries. So if a VLR is undertaken by a community or a mayor, at the same time that the national government is doing their VNR, then there's an opportunity for that integration. And both the Indonesia and the Malaysia voluntary national reviews reflect the Surabaya and the Subang Jaya because they were done somewhat in conjunction. The one from Dhulikel, which was just released yesterday, is not in alignment from a time frame. So I think that's part of the discussion that we need to have with national governments and local communities about this vertical integration. It's not just coordinating what happens between ministries and local authorities. It's how can we co-produce VNRs, VLRs, because both local and national governments should be involved in both. But I think you're correct, and apologies if I'm not used to being this person.
It's okay, maybe me.
Coming back to the convening of mayors, I think we could not create a forum of mayors immediately. So I think the introduction of, or the inviting of mayors from other regions is a great first step, and we could identify hopefully more mayors who would be interested to participate. So kind of that incremental expansion of the existing before we could get to replication in regions. But I think there's one other point that I would want to make about mayors. And I worked in the mayor's office and with a number of mayors in city government when I was with the city, is that they speak very differently in public forums than they do when they're just with their peers. And that's one of the values we see in the Asia Pacific Mayors Academy, is that it's an executive peer level, really a closed session. And they talk not about just what their successes are, but they talk about what their challenges are. And they feed off each other and get feedback. So I think there's an opportunity for more of the latter, of kind of bringing mayors together in a peer-to-peer exchange in a non-public forum, where they can truly identify, here are the challenges that I'm struggling with in my community, and get ideas from other groups, get feedback. So I think there's an opportunity there. But the public forums are great because we see best practices, but we also need to see what's not working. Not just that we need to see it. The mayors need to learn how to address those circumstances.
And that's very true. Let's emphasize this: a peer-to-peer Chatham House rule, basically, not attributive quoting of mayors. That was constantly what mayors said in the corridors, leaving the forum of mayors, said, great, that was the first step, we showcase on a big screen, register, tweeted, great, but we also need to sit, they were calling this working groups, or, informal, formal, really the room nearby, and actually government sitting in intergovernmental bodies do this all the time. They do the plenary of a meeting, and then they do the informal closed door or open door negotiations, but not registered, not recorded, and so really sharing experiences. So I think there is a room really to replicate. Actually, it's not discovering the hot water, it's really replicating to the possible extent this formal plenary, informal negotiation next door, something like this. Turning to the wise conclusion of Paola. Before this, I was told that Yusra, you wanted to take the floor again, or it was just a mistake that you put your hands?
No, it's okay. Thank you.
It's okay. Thank you. Shukran to you. Paola, now you summarize, finalize, and tell us what we do next, please. You have the floor.
I'll do it, and then if you want to follow. Okay, I would like to start from where Curt left it. We are not only here to see how to reproduce the forum in whatever form in other regions. We are also here to learn how to use other regions' experiences in our own region. And to me, what we learned today is also that the academy works well. It's a concept that is very, and it's not only mayors in Asia that need that, but it's throughout the region. Throughout the world. So I think that, let's imagine that someone told me now that we had the money for the next forum of mayors, and we had a lot of money, okay? A big number. Well, we could really envisage having a week where you have the forum for the region, but then you have a global segment, and then you have an academy for all mayors, mixed groups, because there is a lot also to learn from mayors of other regions, other challenges, and I think having, for instance, in the forum, Agadir, Accra, brought in different perspectives. Not to talk about within our regions, there were mayors that were talking they were under the bombs. So that also brought in a different perspective, a new perspective, a new reality we have to face. So that dialogue across regions should be promoted, and I think that's something, an element that we should mention to the evaluator, make sure that our colleagues from regional commissions are interviewed by the evaluator so they could express that. Overall, okay, let's see if we manage to have this model for the next time. A global segment would be very interesting. We had 2 days with 4 sessions. One of the sessions, for instance, could be a mix, not excluding the sea, but having really a global segment to see And a global segment could be, for instance, of VLRs, because that's where we really can learn from each other, and we can really see the best examples from the regions. And that is something really that is across the board, and not a specific reality of the 15-minute city that makes sense perhaps in Europe and not that. Another thing that I think it's interesting is that when I'm talking about this, I have a friend at home now that's coming from New York, and she's part of this UN Water. And all she does is to talk about how well that mechanism works and how well that, the cooperation amongst agencies over the years has developed in an effective way. Whenever we mention creating UN Urban, that went nowhere. However, nobody prevents us from doing that informally. And I tell you, we had an experience within my division when we work on forests, and we were working a lot on forests for what we call fashion, for clothing, and we realized that we needed to talk to other agencies because we were too small, and then we found that there was a plethora of UN organizations with small programs about that. We put them together, what we call the United Nations Fashion Alliance, and we meet once a month, regularly, to update each other and to see whether we are useful to another initiative, and we can bring our message to human rights or whoever is, ILO, and that's what and here really where you come in. Why can't we do the same thing with using your platform, your website, to start building this UN Cities Alliance that, and we can really have a platform, thematic platform, so by themes. It could be VLRs, and then you click and you see what UNESCAP is doing, VLRs, what EC, without putting too much work. We have everything on our website. It's just to provide the link. Yeah. So it's basically a mapping of what is there. We do the same with UN Habitat, and then we invite, and we can start with regional commissions to see if it works, right? We put our work there, then we enlarge it to cover other UN agencies. And that is all there. Everything someone has to know about cities and urban work in the UN is on that platform. And I think this will really the best way to coordinate. Also because, and I was talking a lot with mayors this week, what they want is fast, quick information. They like the form because it's like you see quickly, tak, 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 you're in touch with them. They will not spend time. They don't have time. Nobody has time to really read a lot. They want to know what is relevant to them and how fast they can get it. And also the information that you get quickly. So this would be a tool that facilitates that. You want to know about VLRs, you go on the UN City Alliance website and you get it all. So my two concrete, as I want to leave eventually, so I need your permission to leave, is my two concrete proposals are global segment, the form of mayors, organized by regional commissions with UN Habitat. So we are all involved and we are bringing it. And the second is this UN City Alliance platform, Cities Alliance platform, where we go by theme and we start bringing in the work of regional commissions. That probably is easier because we already coordinated, so we can help you building it. And then we ask everybody else represented initially in Geneva, and then you can go worldwide to provide their.
Wow, thank you so much. We were drafting, my colleagues also drafting, and obviously this is registered. I think we need to go next level. That would be my very short conclusion. You did a great work of initiating this forum of mayors. First step, and yeah, we need to go next level, and we will be working hard, at least us, small team, but committed to bring you there. Thank you so much for all the participants in the room. That was as interactive as possible, but this is what we wanted. And obviously the discussion will be continued. Thank you for being with us in the screen, in the room, and see you next very soon. Sukaina just wanted to add a final word. Please, sorry, go ahead.
No need to be sorry. Thank you, Kamelia. Actually, it's just a quick reflection on what Paola was saying about the global segment and the regional commissions basically to partner with Habitat to organize them. It just occurred to me to share with you that we've just partnered with UN Habitat to hold, it's not the Forum of Mayors, but actually we've held the first National Urban Forum of Lebanon. So we've partnered with Habitat to have this first National Urban Forum of Lebanon, and it was a huge success, and it was highly, highly positively received by the governor of Beirut, by the different ministries involved, etc. So I think at the national level, we can join forces because this is the first time we join forces on such an event. As a regional commission, we have this regional coverage, and we can join forces at the national and the local level. So if we join forces at the national urban forums, we can also join forces at the level of the Forum of Mayors. Thank you again for letting us meet again, for the second time, and we depend on you, Kamelia, and the Geneva Cities Hub to take this further. Over to you. Bye.
Thank you very much, Sukaina, for this. We will try our best. We will do it. Thank you to all. Thank you for the team here at the Geneva Academy, and especially to Pauline, who was drafting questions, managing all the platforms. Thank you so much, and yeah, have a nice evening, afternoon, Ramadan meet in a couple of moments. So yeah, everything you do, and see you and speak to you very soon. Thank you.
Thank you.